Hello everyone. So we are back in the garage. It's a balmy 2 degrees Celsius today in Canada at the end of January. So I don't know what's going on, but it does make it possible for me to be out here. So in the last video, we were sharpening the irons from our hand planes. And so today we're going to look at how to get our blade, our iron back in the hand plane, and how to set it up so that when we actually go to our piece, we're not doing something terrible to it. So there's more to the plane, right? You can have it sharp, but then if you don't have it set up correctly, you can take really, really deep cuts or have really uneven cuts. And so you want to make sure that you get it set correctly before you're actually taking it to a nice piece of wood. We're going to start with this little bench plane. It's got the chip breaker in it. There's some bits of old sawdust and bits of shavings that can get stuck up in the bed, and so you want to make sure that you kind of dust out and clean the bed so that there's not something sitting between your iron and the frog. And so the first thing that we're going to do is we want to put it back with the chip breaker, and we're remembering that the bevel side goes down. We load it back together. We want it to be fairly close to the end of the blade. So I'm going for about a 32nd of an inch. So in that vicinity. And we're going to put that screw in. And you want it to be even. That's one of the things with the planes is that they have, a fair bit of movement available in them. And so it's up to you to make sure that they're aligned correctly. So a little screwdriver adjustment. So once you've got that loaded together, you're going to load it into your plane body. And the chip breaker goes on top. Your blade goes bevel side down. And once you have it in here, this little bit locks into place. And there's a fair bit of natural movement available in these planes. So that's not anything wrong with your plane. Every plane has that bit of movement in it. And so you want to think about the way you're actually going to be exerting forces on the plane. So as you drive it through your piece of wood, it's going to be pushing the blade towards the back of the plane. So you want to preload it that it's already at the back and resting against these like secure structures rather than loading it towards the front. So if you put it together like this with the nose down and load it at the front, then as soon as you try and drive it through the work, it's going to want to take up that bit of space, and it's easy for that to kind of happen in an awkward way, and you get your cut disappear or you get uneven cuts. So start with the plain blade loaded at the back, and then we can clamp it in here, and you just want to make sure that this guy has a reasonable tension level. So you don't want to have to battle it in order to get it in place, but you also want there to be some tension on it. It's a good idea to practice or to tune your blade to whatever material it is you're going to be working with. So if you're working with something very hard, you definitely want to make sure that you're doing your test cuts with a piece of that material. So we want to take a shaving from the right side and from the left side so that we can compare how deep the cut is and get the alignment correct of the blade in the plane body. Cut, and I'm going to use some paraffin just to make things slide a little bit more nicely. So cut on the right, it's pretty heavy. Cut on the left is quite light right now, so we're going to tilt towards the side that's cutting heavily. to the right, to the left. And that's a pretty even cut. So with the bevel up planes, like this was my low angle jack plane that we also sharpened up in the last video. So this one has the bevel up and it doesn't have the chip breaker and whatnot. It just sets into the plane body. So we set it in. Again, you want to be careful to not ding your freshly sharpened blade against the metal body. And we're going to put this on here and tighten it up. This is sort of the lever cap, but it's got a tightening rather than that sort of spring steel loaded mechanism, and works similarly. You don't have that left-right adjuster, and so in this case, you really just are going to tap the blade to either side in order to get the adjustment that you're looking for. You can use a little hammer, you can use his ruler just to do a little adjustment, and you know, it's up to you whether or not you care about possibly dinging the paint on your plane. And so let's look at this. Might be right, left. It's not too bad. The right's like a little bit heavy right now. I'm going to loosen a little bit so that I can do a slight adjustment. Tighten that down. And right, left, and center. So if you've sharpened your blade with the intention of using it as a smoothing plane, you're going to see a difference left to right and to the center in the way that the shavings are going to come out, because you've got that little bit of a camber, and so you're going to see your shavings have that little bit of a fade to the side. I'm going to lighten that up a little bit so that I've got a really fine shaving on this one. Right, left, center. So on the right, my shaving's a little bit too thin. On the left, it's a little bit heavier, so I'm going to come back to the right just a little. And it's subtle, these adjustments. To the left and in the center. So you see that I've got that nice full shaving in the middle, and then on each side it's going to fade out on the edge. Okay, so now you know how deep your plane is cutting, and you know that it's cutting the correct amount and an equal amount on each side. So now you can go to work and not worry about ruining something or getting frustrated because the tool isn't doing what you want it to do. It's simple steps, but it's worth that moment of pause, that moment of effort to make sure that things are tuned up to the way that you want them to be. That's it for this one. Thanks for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, please hit like and subscribe. And if you're interested in supporting the channel, go on over to Patreon/CatFink. And you can also check out the other projects that I've got going on there. I hope to see you next time.